Madison rushes through the elegant marble lobby of Reynolds Industries, the sound of her heels echoing against the gleaming floor. She smooths her waitress uniform beneath her coat, wishing to remain unnoticed. As she approaches the private elevator, the security guard, Pete, offers her a warm smile. He's accustomed to her late-night visits to see James Reynolds, yet there's always a flicker of worry in his gaze. The elevator glides open, revealing the expansive interior of James's penthouse office. He gazes out from the expansive windows, the shimmering lights of Manhattan casting a glow behind him. He lifts his whiskey glass to his lips, savoring the moment without a glance back. You have arrived later than expected. Apologies, we were experiencing a shortage of staff at the diner. I couldn't simply depart. James turns, his steel blue eyes warming just a bit at the sight of her. At 38, he exudes a self-assuredness that suggests he has never encountered anything superior. Somewhere I have you. Madison tucks a strand of auburn hair behind her ear, a subtle gesture revealing her unease. This has been a topic of our discussions. I desire to forge my path according to my own principles. James strides across the room, placing his glass down with purpose. His fingers lightly caress her cheek, unyielding as ever. That's the reason I became enamored with you. He leans in to kiss her, but then retreats, a frown creasing his brow. Your scent is a blend of coffee and grease. That's the reality of working at a diner, Madison remarks, attempting to maintain a cheerful tone. Yet, there's a sharpness to it, the same sharpness that has been subtly infiltrating their discussions with increasing frequency. You deserve so much more than that place. Superior to pouring truckers their late-night brew. He makes his way back to his desk, retrieving a small velvet box with a sense of anticipation. I have a little surprise for you. Madison feels a flutter in her chest. James, simply open it. Within lies a fragile diamond bracelet, likely worth more than her annual earnings. Stunning, yet, however, there is nothing. Madison, you belong to me. I desire for others to recognize that. He secures it around her wrist, his touch asserting ownership. Madison gazes at the shimmering diamonds, recalling her mother's words. Some enclosures are crafted from gold. Darling. She dismisses the thought. Thanks a lot. James's phone vibrates. He casts a quick look at it, his jaw clenching in response. I must take this. Commerce is a relentless pursuit. He gently presses his lips to her forehead. Would you like to spend the night? Madison nods, yet as James steps onto the balcony for his call, she can't help but gaze at her reflection in the window. The diamonds glimmer, yet the girl adorned with them appears unfamiliar. 3 weeks later, Madison finds herself in her usual booth at Ruby's diner, tallying up her tips after a long shift. Denise, her coworker, glides into the seat opposite her, offering a steaming cup of coffee with a gentle push. Another late night with the affluent gentleman? Denise inquires, glancing at the diamond bracelet that Madison has worn continuously since receiving it from James. Please refrain from using that name. Madison adds another handful of ones to the growing pile. He's not what you expect. Is it different like that bruise Janet had when her former partner was different? Madison's gaze shoots upward. James would never do such a thing. He's simply caring. Is it like having his driver escort you to work for added safety? Denise gestures subtly at the black SUV awkwardly concealed across the street. Madison swiftly collects her tips, hastily stuffing them into her purse. You fail to grasp the situation. He adores me. Love doesn't count, darling. Madison makes her way to the back door, yet Denise's voice rings out, calling her back. You were brought up to be more astute than this. In the chill of the night, Madison rests against the brick wall, her breath forming wisps in the frosty air. She retrieves her phone, noticing 3 missed calls from James. Just as she prepares to make the call, a text arrives. Dinner tomorrow, 8 in the evening. Put on the blue dress I got for you. Her fingers linger above the keyboard. For the first time, she types I can't, only to erase it in an instant. In response, she says, I'll be there. The engine of the SUV roars to life from across the street. Madison quickens her pace, clutching her coat closely. At the corner, she glimpses her image in a storefront window. The diamonds glimmer on her wrist, yet what was once beautiful now feels burdensome. It feels like a ticking clock, leading to an unknown destination. Once more, her phone vibrates. This time, it's her mother, sweet child, just reaching out. It's been some time since I last heard from you. Feeling a sense of concern, Madison gazes at the message, recalling Sunday dinners, her mother's laughter, and the lessons that instilled in her the strength to stand tall even when life attempted to diminish her. When did those dinners come to an end? At what point did James's timetable become the sole one of significance? As she rounds the corner leading to her apartment, the SUV keeps its distance, lingering in the background. Her phone buzzes once more, a message from James, wishing her sweet dreams. Beautiful. Envision me in your thoughts. Madison quietly tucks her phone away, choosing not to reply. In her small studio apartment, she gazes into the mirror, examining the blue dress draped over her closet door. James's voice reverberates in her mind. You're mine, Madison. Her fingers graze the bracelet as she glances at her mother's message once more. For the first time, she contemplates the distinction between being cherished and being possessed, and which path she has embraced. The intimate dining room at La Maison glimmers softly with the warm glow of candlelight. Madison sits opposite James, adorned in the blue dress as directed. She nudges her pristine foie gras across the plate, all the while James engages in a business conversation on his phone. No, inform Thompson that the agreement finalizes tomorrow or we withdraw. James concludes the call, redirecting his focus to Madison. Your plate remains largely untouched. It seems you're rather subdued this evening. I have been contemplating. Madison's fingers trace the delicate bracelet. Perhaps returning to school is a consideration worth exploring. Complete my degree. James's expression grows somber. This has been a topic of our discussion. There's no requirement for you to engage in work or study. I handle all the details. That's precisely the point. I wish to prioritize my well-being. Similar to my mother. Your mother? James lets out a derisive laugh. The woman juggling 2 jobs and residing in a walk-up in Queens? Is that truly what you desire? She feels a sense of joy, self-sufficient. She lacks financial resources. James gestures to the waiter for another glass of wine. I pour my heart into this. And you aspire to be like her? Madison's phone vibrates with a sudden buzz. James grabs it just before she has the chance. His expression shifts dramatically as he gazes at the screen. Who is Brandon? His voice is eerily silent. A familiar face at the diner. He's simply being cordial. James angles the phone in her direction. Thank you for the delightful coffee and engaging conversation today. Your presence makes the late shifts more manageable. How about we grab dinner sometime? Warm and approachable. James's grip on the phone tightens, his knuckles turning pale. Is that how you spend your time while I'm focused on my tasks? Should I befriend every guy who strolls into that place? James, if you would be so kind. Have you been sharing your bed with him? Madison flinches. Excuse me? Negative. I would never do that. James rises suddenly, the sound of his chair dragging across the floor breaking the silence. I offer you my all. A life that many women would envy. Is this truly how you choose to repay me? You seem to be overlooking what I'm saying. Nothing occurred. I'm not paying attention. He chuckles, yet it lacks any semblance of warmth. I have acted foolishly, believing you stood apart. Unique. He flings her phone onto the table. Leave now. James. Choir. Gone. His voice resonates throughout the restaurant. Other patrons glance over with curiosity. Madison clutches her purse with quivering hands. As she stands, James seizes her wrist, the one adorned with the bracelet. Let it be. His fingers deftly manipulate the clasp. The bracelet lands on the table, producing a sharp, cold clink. Madison bolts from the restaurant, her vision clouded by tears. Outside, the rain begins to descend gently from the sky. She glances back at the shimmering windows of La Maison, then slips off her heels. The pavement feels icy beneath her bare feet as she dashes forward, the blue dress deepening in hue with each drop of rain. 3 blocks away, she comes to a halt, seeking refuge beneath an awning. Her phone is unresponsive. James must have switched it off. She lacks the funds for a taxi. Her mother's warning resonates once more. Some cages are crafted from gold. My dear. Madison glances at her wrist. The area where the bracelet rested feels exposed, yet oddly more buoyant. She begins her journey to Queens, heading home, moving closer to her mother. With every step, she distances herself from the gilded confines of James's world, yet draws nearer to an unknown promise, something that evokes a thrilling sense of liberation. As the first light of dawn spills into Queens, Madison finds herself at her mother's kitchen table, cradling a warm mug of tea in her hands. Patricia, her mother, is at the stove, crafting pancakes. Those warm, nostalgic bites from Madison's youth. After 2 weeks of complete silence, you suddenly appear at midnight, drenched in a designer dress. Patricia gently places a plate before Madison. Begin the conversation. It's finished, Mom. Madison's voice trembles. James, the elegant residence, everything about it. Excellent. Patricia takes a seat. That man was shaping you into a mere plaything. All dressed up with no destination in sight. Madison sets aside her untouched pancakes, battling a surge of nausea. I feel quite foolish. Hey, take a moment to notice me. Patricia gently holds her daughter's hands. You managed to escape. That's not foolish. That takes courage. Madison dashes to the bathroom, overwhelmed and heaving. Upon her return, Patricia's expression transforms from worry to comprehension. What time will you arrive? Madison stands still. What is happening? Darling, I welcomed you into my life at the age of 23. I can recognize morning sickness when it presents itself. Madison collapses into her chair, the world around her swirling in a dizzying dance. Negative. No, no, no. Have you completed an assessment? Madison gives a slight shake of her head. Cannot be. We exercised caution. I'm feeling quite overwhelmed. Patricia clutches her keys tightly. There's just one method to discover the truth. In the small, dimly lit corner drugstore, Madison gazes intently at the 3 positive pregnancy tests arranged neatly on the bathroom counter. Patricia embraces her tightly as tears flow down her cheeks. He will never find out, Madison murmurs. Madison. Absolutely not, Mom. His face remained hidden from your view that night. How swiftly affection transformed into animosity. He would either attempt to dominate every aspect or deny any ownership of it. She composes herself, clearing her tears. I refuse to allow my child to be used as a tool or a means to an end. The doctor, 2 weeks later, gestures towards the ultrasound screen and says, Children, 2 of a kind. Madison chuckles amidst her sorrow. Absolutely. It seems the cosmos has a playful side. Doesn't it? Under the cover of darkness, she meticulously organizes her belongings as Patricia engages in a flurry of phone conversations. In Portland, her mother's cousin has a spare room available in a tranquil neighborhood, with excellent schools in close proximity. Patricia cautions that escaping won't resolve all issues. I'm not fleeing from anything. Madison places her hand gently on her smooth, unblemished abdomen. I am sprinting towards a destination, a new beginning, an existence free from gilded confines. She gazes at her reflection in the window. The figure reflected isn't the same as the one who used to ascend to that penthouse office each evening. Her eyes reveal a blend of emotions. Fear, undeniably, but also a fierce determination that shines through. As she drifts off on her mother's couch, Madison envisions the moment James will see her again, his expression vivid in her mind. Yet in the dream, she possesses great strength. Upright and proud, she is accompanied. Portland welcomes Madison with a drizzle, not the fierce torrent of that evening in Manhattan, but a tender mist that lends a delicate quality to the surroundings. In her cousin Rachel's house, she finds herself in the new bedroom, carefully unpacking the few belongings she has brought from her past life. Rachel announces from the doorway that the community college has returned the call. An opportunity has arisen in their business program for the upcoming semester. Madison pivots, one hand gently caressing her expanding belly. I am unable to afford it. Financial aid can make it possible. There's an opportunity for a bookkeeper at a local coffee shop. Rachel beams with joy. No diner in view. 3 months later, Madison meticulously balances spreadsheets at the daily grind. Her accounting textbook laid open beside her. Owner Beth places a herbal tea on her desk. You're the most wonderful thing that's ever occurred here, Beth expresses. Who would have thought we were losing so much cash on oat milk? Figures speak the truth. Madison flinches as one of the twins delivers a swift kick. In contrast to individuals. When it comes to individuals, Beth pauses, uncertain. Nathan, that charming regular, inquired about you once more. At this moment, I wouldn't consider myself the best candidate for dating. Madison points to her noticeable bump. He works as a pediatric nurse. I'm fairly certain he gets along well with children. Madison gives a slight shake of her head. I'm not prepared. Perhaps it never will be. That evening, Madison delves into a collection of baby name books. A notification appears on her laptop, revealing a business news article about James Reynolds' latest acquisition of another company. His face gazes from the screen, 5 months older yet still the same. With a decisive motion, she closes the laptop with a forceful snap. She whispers to her bump, "Your daddy's still out there, amassing wealth, constructing taller barriers. However, we are creating something as well." During her weekly video calls with Patricia, Madison proudly displays her expanding belly and her blossoming self-assurance. She shares details about her classes, her job, and the nursery she's transforming into a soft shade of yellow. There's a change in your tone, Patricia notes. More resilient. I exist. Madison proudly displays her accounting midterm, showcasing a flawless score. Freedom at last. Simply remarkable chances. During her 6-month checkup, the ultrasound technician beams with a smile. Are you still curious about the genders? Madison nods, tears welling in her eyes as she discovers she's expecting a boy and a girl. That evening, she inscribes 2 names in her journal, Oliver and Emma. Not surnames, not names with a legacy, fresh titles for her fresh journey. Later, she gazes out her window, observing the twinkling lights of Portland, so distinct from the brightness of Manhattan. A letter rests on her desk, an opportunity from a nearby accounting firm, dependent on the completion of her degree. On her nightstand, a framed ultrasound photo reveals 2 unique profiles. We will prevail, she assures her unborn children, and we shall proceed in our own unique manner. 3 years have gone by. Madison's apartment buzzes with the vibrant energy of morning mayhem. Cheerios strewn across the kitchen floor, little shoes to locate, and twin toddlers to manage. Emma, sweetheart, do have your breakfast, please. Madison attempts to tame Oliver's wild dark locks, while James's hair remains untouched, and Emma constructs a fortress from cereal. Their father's steel blue eyes are reflected in both children, serving as a constant reminder of what she has left behind. Skipped breakfast. Emma proclaims, her mother's tenacity evident in every word. Which numbers have a fondness for their mother? Madison casts her eyes over the accounting books laid out on the dining table. At the age of 3, Emma is already attempting to emulate her mother's craft, scrawling in notebooks while Oliver constructs ever taller towers with blocks, mirroring his father's impressive creations. Beth from the daily grind messages, feeling uninspired by today's meeting. Are you prepared? Madison gazes at her reflection in the hallway mirror, adjusting her blazer with a careful touch. The frightened girl who fled New York has vanished, now transformed into a woman who has just achieved junior partner status at her firm. Who brought up twins by themselves? Who created a life from nothing? At daycare drop-off, Nathan gives a cheerful wave from the nurse's station. After 3 years of gentle persistence, a friendship has blossomed, though he has never sought anything beyond that. It's a significant day, he inquires, as he assists in managing the twins. Here are the quarterly reports for your review. Madison bids farewell to Oliver and Emma with a kiss. Send some good vibes my way. It's unnecessary. You are truly the most skilled individual I have ever encountered. His words linger in her mind as she strides into the office, confidently delivering the presentation. Her supervisor takes her aside afterward. The New York office is quite taken aback. They are seeking your expertise for some significant accounts. Madison's heart halts. New York? Only visits every 3 months. Fantastic chance. Reynolds Industries is among the accounts. The chamber whirls. Madison braces herself against the wall. I am unable to do that. Madison, you are shining brightly on the horizon. This could accelerate your journey to becoming a senior partner. Once the twins have drifted off to sleep, Madison initiates a video call with Patricia. Perhaps the moment has come, her mother suggests. Those children have a right to know their dad. What if he attempts to seize them? He possesses the funds and the legal representation. And you possess evidence of it all. The writings, the monitoring, the reasons for your departure. Additionally, 3 years of being a wonderful mother while developing a professional path. No authority would dare to part them from you. Madison gazes at her slumbering children on the baby monitor. Emma grips her toy calculator tightly, while Oliver is enveloped by his colorful blocks. They are growing, inquiring more. Yesterday, Oliver gestured towards a man dressed in a suit. Father, it devastated her. Her laptop emits a soft ping. A message regarding the opportunity in New York. The cosmos nudging her toward a reckoning she's evaded for 3 long years. I feel frightened, Mom. Sweetheart, you've faced fear in the past. It didn't hold you back at that time. It shouldn't hold you back at this moment. Madison flips open her journal, the cherished companion she's maintained since the arrival of the twins. Each milestone, each memory, captured for the days she anticipated would arrive. The day she would confront James once more. She crafts her reply. I have decided to accept the position in New York. Madison carefully arranges her belongings in her suitcase, while Rachel assists the twins in constructing an imaginative blanket fort in the cozy living room. Oliver gazes out, holding tightly to his beloved stuffed elephant. How many nights until you return, Mommy? Only 3, darling. Madison carefully secures her laptop into its case. Auntie Rachel will be present throughout the entire duration. Emma steps out of the fort, her expression grave. Can you assure me you won't lose your way? The inquiry strikes Madison with intensity. They have always been together, never apart for longer than a day. She settles on the floor, enveloping both children in her embrace. Their scent evokes the sweetness of apple shampoo and a sense of purity. I will forever return to you, without fail. Eventually, Rachel assists her in completing the packing process. Do you have duplicates of all the documents? Madison gives her laptop a gentle pat. Certificates of birth, health documentation, my notebooks, images, all the evidence that shows I've been their mother for 3 years while he was not. Her voice fades into silence. Staying true to the essence of who he always was, Rachel concludes. Have you mentioned to Beth that you might not return to Portland? Madison gazes thoughtfully out the window. If complications arise in New York and he becomes aware, we may have to vanish once more. Somewhere beyond this time, or perhaps everything could turn out well. Rachel grips her shoulder tightly. You've transformed beyond that frightened girl you once were. As night falls, Madison shares the twins' beloved tale with them. Oliver succumbs to slumber swiftly, while Emma holds onto her awareness with tenacity. Mother, what is New York? Madison's breath hitches. It's a vast city where my mother once resided. Prior to your arrival into this world. Was there a blanket fort in that place as well? No, darling. I resided in an elegant apartment adorned with expansive windows. However, do you realize? She gently presses her lips to Emma's forehead. I prefer blanket forts by far. Once they have drifted off, Madison initiates a final video call to Patricia. Her mother mentions that Nathan will be taking the kids to the park tomorrow. He truly excels in his interactions with them. Mom, please let's not go there. I'm merely pointing out that he bears no resemblance to James. Perhaps once everything is resolved. Nothing will be resolved, Madison interjects. In the most favorable outcome, James will remain a part of our lives indefinitely once he becomes aware. Nathan truly deserves someone who isn't weighed down by all this baggage. You are worthy of happiness as well, sweetheart. Madison gazes at her slumbering children on the monitor. I feel a sense of joy. They are everything I require. The following morning, Madison steps onto her flight bound for New York. A tiny photograph of the twins captured during their 3rd birthday celebration rests in her purse. Within her thoughts, every conceivable outcome of how this might unfold. Within her soul lies the truth she has held for 3 long years. James Reynolds is unaware that he has 2 children, and in under a day, she will re-enter his life. Her phone vibrates, a message from her supervisor. A vehicle will arrive to collect you at 9 a.m. Initial gathering at Reynolds Industries at 10. Madison silences her phone, her eyes fluttering shut as the plane ascends into the sky. Below, Portland fades into the mist, carrying away the comforting veil of obscurity. Before us stretches Manhattan, James, and a showdown that has been brewing for 3 long years. The skyline of Manhattan cuts through the morning mist as Madison's taxi navigates the bridge. She has lost touch with the essence of the city, its rhythm, its weight, its hopes. Her phone illuminates as a FaceTime call from Rachel comes through. Mother. The twins fill the frame, their faces pressed closely together. Pancakes were made by us. Oliver adds with pride, incorporating blueberries. And I managed to keep it all contained. Emma proclaims, even as the purple stain on her shirt tells a different story. Madison fights to hold back her tears. That's delightful, little ones. Please be kind to Andy, Rachel, all right? The taxi arrives at her hotel, a far cry from the opulent high-rise she once called home, now replaced by a humble business establishment. In her room, Madison slips into her power suit, the one she selected with great care for this trip. Her hands tremble as she secures her necklace, a delicate gold pendant inscribed with O&E. Patricia, her phone rings, just reaching out to see how things are going. I'm doing fine. Madison observes the hurried figures bustling along the street beneath her. It's peculiar. All appears familiar, yet the sensations are distinct. Due to your uniqueness. Catherine, Madison's new boss, encounters her in the hotel lobby. Prepared to create a legacy? What about history? Reynolds Industries has not sought external consultation in 15 years. You're on the verge of transforming that. The well-known black SUVs are parked along the street outside Reynolds Industries. Madison's heart races as they near the structure. A young guard, not bothering to glance up, hands out visitor badges, as Pete is no longer at the security desk. In the elevator, Catherine peruses her notes with a keen eye. First, we'll be meeting with the CFO. A voice concludes, revealing James Reynolds himself. The elevator doors slid open, unveiling Diane, the steadfast assistant to James. She appears as timeless as ever. Diane's eyes widen with recognition, yet Madison is the one who breaks the silence first. We appreciate your hospitality. My name is Madison Chen, and I represent the Portland operations team. A glimmer of realization lights up Diane's expression, as Madison silently implores her to safeguard the secret, at least for the time being. Diane's subtle nod is nearly undetectable. The CFO is prepared to meet with you in the conference room on the 3rd floor. Madison is inundated with relief. The penthouse office can hold off for now. As they trail behind Diane, Madison catches sight of James's latest corporate portrait displayed on the wall. His hair now bears hints of gray, yet his eyes remain unchanged, the same steel blue that their children have inherited. Her phone buzzes softly. A message from Rachel. The twins would like to say goodnight later. Oliver constructed a towering edifice of blocks, reaching heights reminiscent of New York's skyline. Emma mentioned that her calculator is longing for your presence. Madison caresses her necklace, finding solace in the engraved initials. High above her, James Reynolds carries on with his day, oblivious to the fact that his life is on the brink of a monumental shift. Catherine brushes her arm gently. Are you all right? Your expression suggests you've encountered something quite unsettling. Not just yet, Madison murmurs. However, I am on the verge of doing so. The CFO's presentation stretches endlessly, yet Madison hardly registers the words. Her gaze wanders to the ceiling, a silent acknowledgement that James is somewhere above her. Her phone vibrates softly, yet another message from Rachel. Oliver is running a fever. Rest assured, Nathan is looking into it. The doctor assures me it's merely a cold. Catherine gives her a gentle nudge as the crowd rises to their feet. Are you prepared for the important meeting? The ascent to the penthouse stretches on, each moment dragging as if it were an eternity. As the doors swing open, Madison is engulfed by a wave of memories. The scent of his cologne, the intimate late-night talks, and the haunting recollection of that final, dreadful evening. Diane guides them into the conference room. Mr. Reynolds will be with you momentarily. Madison's fingers glide over her necklace, feeling the ONE. Her laptop screen displays a new email from Nathan, indicating that Oliver's fever has subsided. He's requesting Elephant and you. Emma is sharing stories with him. A door creaks open. James halts abruptly, his face a mask of disbelief. In that instant, it feels as though they are the sole inhabitants of the space. Madison. Greetings, James. Catherine glances back and forth, her brow furrowed in confusion. Are you two acquainted? We once did, James remarks, his tone strained. His gaze remains fixed on Madison. Many years passed. The gathering commences. Madison compels herself to concentrate, to maintain her professionalism. She delivers her analysis with calm precision, even as her heart races. James poses incisive inquiries, his demeanor icy. He finally remarks on the impressive growth of your Portland division. While some may describe your approaches as unorthodox, at times, thinking outside the box proves to be more effective than sticking to conventional methods. Madison locks eyes with him. At times, stepping off the conventional route is precisely what one needs. His jaw clenches at her words. The meeting concludes. As the crowd disperses, James's voice rises above the chatter. Ms. Chun, may I have a moment? Catherine pauses, yet Madison gives a reassuring nod. I'll get up to speed. The door shuts quietly. They find themselves in solitude. 3 years have passed. James gazes out of his window, his back turned to her. Silence prevails. You vanished. There were justifications for my actions. He spins around, fury igniting in his eyes. What are the reasons? I poured my heart and soul into this. You provided me with gifts, James. Gilded restraints masquerading as presents. For the reason that I cherished you. He pounds his fist against the desk. You have turned your back on me. I never. Madison's phone starts to ring. Rachel's name illuminates the screen. Are you still getting close to everyone except for me? James scoffs. Madison mutes the call. Seems you remain just as you were, don't you? Still convinced you possess everyone you care for. What brings you here? Madison. Is that so? Once more, she extends her hand toward her necklace. James notices the motion, his gaze locking onto the etched initials. O&E? His voice carries a thrilling edge. Fresh romances? Madison's laughter echoes emptily. You continue to believe that it's all centered around treachery. Once more, Rachel reaches out. This time, Madison catches a glimpse of the text preview. Oliver's Fever 103. Medical facility. Her complexion pales. James observes. What seems to be the issue? I must take my leave. Madison collects her belongings. Are you planning to escape once more? My son is unwell. The words slip away before she can catch them. James becomes completely motionless. Child? Madison is already at the door. I must take my leave now. Madison. Her movement halts at the sound of his voice. What are you trying to convey to me? She glances back one final time, truly observing the father of her children, genuinely seeing him for the first time in 3 years. All of it, she breathes and flees. Madison strides into the emergency room, her business suit still crisp and polished. Rachel cradles Emma, who clings to her toy calculator as if it were a vital source of comfort. Nathan lingers close by in his scrubs, having taken the earliest flight available to him. Where could he be? In room 204, Nathan leads her onward. Tests are currently being conducted. Oliver rests quietly in the hospital bed, his dark hair glistening with sweat. With one elephant cradled under one arm and 4 others nestled in the other, he moved with a peculiar grace. Madison feels a deep ache in his heart. He resembles James so closely at this moment, even in slumber. Mother? Emma's voice trembles. Is Ollie malfunctioning? No, darling. The physicians are attending to him. Madison gently presses her lips to her daughter's forehead before hurrying over to Oliver. In his penthouse office, James walks back and forth, deep in thought. Gather all available information on Madison Chun from Portland. At this moment, Diane pauses, uncertainty flickering in her mind. Excuse me, sir? She disappeared 3 years ago and has now resurfaced with a child. He halts his restless movement. The timing, Diane. Calculate the figures. Perhaps it's time to release it. Absolutely not. He takes hold of his coat. Which hospital? Is that you, James? Her expression was unmistakable when she received that call. Which one? Medical facility? In the confines of the hospital room, the doctors deliver the diagnosis. Oliver is suffering from severe pneumonia. Madison grips his hand tightly as he endures yet another bout of coughing. The temperature remains elevated as Nathan scrutinizes the monitors. However, the antibiotics are expected to take effect shortly. Rachel escorts Emma to the cafeteria. Madison sinks into the hospital chair, weariness enveloping her. Nathan presents her with a cup of coffee. She tells him that he doesn't have to stay. You've accomplished a great deal already. Those kids mean just as much to me as family. He takes a moment to reflect. Have you informed him? He senses that something is amiss. The manner in which he gazed at me. Madison's phone vibrates. A message from Catherine inquiring about her sudden absence. A subsequent message is on its way. James has called off all meetings for the day. Oliver awakens. Mother, my majestic creature. Right here, darling. She draws it in tighter. Could you share the details about the towers once more? Madison gulps nervously. Which towers, my dear? The ones from your previous city. The towering giants that reach for the heavens. Currently, I find myself in New York. She gently caresses his hair. Perhaps in the future. A disturbance breaks out in the corridor. Madison recognizes a voice she knows well. My name is James Reynolds. I require details regarding a young boy who was brought in today. Madison feels a chill seep through her veins. Nathan observes her distress. I will take care of this. He makes his way to the door. Nathan, hold on. Yet he has already departed. Peering through the door's window, Madison observes Nathan as he faces off against James. Unless you're part of the family, sir. I believe I am the father of that boy. Nathan's expression becomes steely. Mr. Reynolds, I must request that you exit the premises. Absolutely not. The effectiveness of hospital security in performing their duties is commendable. I really hope I don't have to reach out to them. James's voice resonates beyond the door. Inform Madison that this is far from finished. Oliver lets out another cough. Madison embraces him tightly, inhaling his fragrance, sensing the rapid beat of his small heart. Mother, he murmurs. Who is that individual? Madison gazes at her son, studying James's eyes and his small face, noting the resolute set of his jaw that reflects his father's determination. The figure from my past, darling. A person who once constructed towers as well. As Rachel walks down the hallway with Emma, they cross paths with James, who is on his way out. Emma's calculator tumbles from her grasp, clattering to the ground at his feet. He crouches to retrieve it, halting abruptly as her visage comes into view, his own gaze reflected in her eyes. Rachel rushes Emma along, but the moment has already passed. James remains still, the calculator clutched in his hand, as 3 years of inquiries abruptly reveal their resolution. The hospital corridor looms ahead of James, resembling an infinite tunnel, with Emma's face etched deeply in his mind. His hands tremble as he grips her calculator, thoughts swirling through his mind, each one converging on a singular, heartbreaking realization. He retrieves his phone, his fingers poised above the keypad as he dials a number that remains etched in his memory. "Fetch me all the details," he commands into the phone. "Documents such as birth certificates, medical records, and school registrations. All there is to know about Madison Chen's offspring. I need it delivered within the hour." Within the confines of Oliver's room, Madison moves restlessly, her heels abandoned beneath the hospital chair. The rhythmic beeping of the monitors mirrors the frantic pace of her thoughts. Nathan keeps a watchful eye at the door as Rachel gently works to soothe an overtired Emma on the cozy couch. Oliver's fever has finally subsided, his breathing more relaxed thanks to the medications. Yet Madison senses a different tempest on the horizon. She senses it in the atmosphere, in the persistent glow of her phone as it buzzes with calls from unfamiliar numbers, likely James's attorneys. As darkness envelopes the surroundings, Rachel leads Emma to a nearby hotel, assuring her they will be back at the break of dawn. Nathan reviews Oliver's vitals one final time before handing over to his colleague for the night shift. "I can stay," he offers, his voice gentle and filled with worry, but Madison simply shakes her head. This is her struggle to confront. With the door softly shutting behind him, she settles into the chair next to Oliver's bed, her fingers gently weaving through his dark hair, reminiscent of his father's. Her dawn awakens, azure eyes gently blinking into the light. "The Tower Man," he murmurs drowsily, his expression tinged with sorrow. "Mommy." The words cut through Madison's heart. Before she has a chance to reply, her phone vibrates with a message from an unfamiliar number. Lobby. At this moment, it's time for a conversation. She instinctively knows it's James, no need to verify. For a brief instant, she contemplates brushing it off. Yet the next message sends a chill through her veins. "They're mine, aren't they? Please don't let this escalate to legal matters, Madison." With a gentle kiss on Oliver's forehead, Madison requests the night nurse to keep an eye on him for a little while. The descent in the elevator to the lobby evokes memories of her past. The doors swing wide, unveiling James poised by the window, his outline striking against the shimmering cityscape. As she draws near, he pivots, and the expression on his face halts her in her steps. What she perceives isn't anger. It's sheer devastation. 3 years, he states, his voice strained. 3 years in the lives of my children. Departed. He raises Emma's calculator, causing Madison's heart to tighten. She resembles my sister from that time in her life. And the young lad, he gulps with difficulty. What is his name? Madison raises her chin, channeling the resilience forged through years of self-reliance. Oliver and Emma, they are twins. The words linger in the air, palpable and heavy. James presses himself against the window, his reflection revealing a man who is both disassembled and reconstructed in a heartbeat. Oliver and Emma, he murmurs, savoring the sound of his children's names as they roll off his tongue for the very first time. What is the reason? The question bursts forth, resonating in the vacant lobby. Why didn't you share that with me? What made you think you could withhold this from me? Are you interested in discussing rights? Madison's voice quivers, laden with a lifetime of unexpressed feelings. Are you interested in discussing the authority to govern another person's existence? To monitor their movements? Is it fair to label them as traitors for just a message? She moves in, her voice lowering to an intense whisper. You were stifling me, James. All was a matter of exchange and ownership. The apartment, the clothes, the bracelet. They were not tokens of affection. They were shackles. And when I discovered I was expecting, she tilts her head in disbelief. I refused to allow my children to become just another item in your collection. James darts forward, seizing her arms with urgency. They are my offspring, my essence. You had no authority. The elevator chimes, and Nathan emerges, his expression tightening at the sight that greets him. James frees Madison swiftly, yet his gaze is filled with determination. I will have my legal team reach out to you in the morning. I would like to proceed with a DNA test, after which we can have a conversation about custody arrangements. Madison senses the world shifting beneath her, yet she remains steadfast. Your DNA test is available for you. However, it is important to recognize that those children have always lived in a world shaped by my presence. I have stood by through every illness, every haunting dream, every significant achievement. Oliver constructs his towers using blocks, rather than steel and glass. Emma engages with calculators, inspired by her mother's diligent efforts to support her. They seem quite content, James. They are cherished. If you attempt to wield your wealth and influence to separate them from me, you will be dismantling the essence of what defines them. A code blue alarm echoes from above, sending Madison's heart racing into her throat. In silence, she dashes toward the elevator, abandoning James in the lobby, clutching Emma's calculator in his grasp. As the doors shut, she watches him lower the window and settle onto the floor, a shattered soul at last confronting the burden of his decisions. As dawn unfolds, gentle light spills into the hospital room, casting soft shadows over Oliver's serene, slumbering visage. Madison, wide awake, sits with her laptop open, diligently forwarding emails to her lawyer. The sealed envelope containing the DNA test results rests on the bedside table, merely a formality that reaffirms what is already understood by all. In the bathroom mirror, she glimpses her reflection, shadows beneath her eyes, hair hastily gathered in a messy bun, clad in Nathan's borrowed scrubs after a long night at the hospital. The reflection staring back is a stark contrast to the poised individual who entered Reynolds Industries just yesterday. Yet there's an undeniable sense of strength within her. Rachel shows up ahead of time with Emma and some clean clothes. The young girl hurries to her brother's bedside, a calculator firmly grasped in her hand. Not the one she had let slip, but her backup. Madison ponders whether James still possesses the other one, if he's currently examining it, attempting to comprehend the existence he was unaware of. Emma ascends cautiously onto Oliver's bed, demonstrating her newfound skill of typing their names using numbers. Oliver forces a faint smile, the fever that had gripped him now a memory, yet his vitality remains diminished. They appear effortlessly harmonious, perfectly whole. Madison feels a deep pang of sorrow at the mere idea of anyone intruding upon their small, idyllic world. The door swings open, and James strides in unannounced. He dons the same suit as yesterday, appearing as though he hasn't had a moment of rest either. The twins become quiet, instinctively drawing nearer to one another. Emma leans in to share a quiet word with Oliver, who responds with a nod, their steel blue eyes locked onto the man who bestowed that gift upon them. James halts abruptly, his gaze fixed on his children united for the very first time. His hands tremble at his sides, battling the impulse to extend and make contact with them. Instead, he shifts his focus to Madison. My attorneys will arrive in an hour. Pondered, perhaps we could have a conversation initially, only the two of us. Rachel begins to voice her objections, yet Madison simply nods in response. Nathan is on his way to review Oliver's discharge papers. Would you mind keeping an eye on the kids for a bit? She trails behind James into the hallway, where the morning light pours in through expansive windows. In silence, they both remain, words unspoken. The city stirs beneath them, oblivious to the transformations unfolding in this hospital corridor. I was up all night, James finally admits, his voice raspy, examining their birth certificates, academic documentation, chronicle of health events, all the information my researchers were able to uncover. He rakes his fingers through his tousled hair. Oliver experienced colic during the initial 3 months of his life. Last year, Emma had an unfortunate accident when she fell from a swing and broke her arm. They share a passion for dinosaurs and a strong aversion to Brussels sprouts. How can I bridge the gap of 3 years of memories I missed out on? Madison slumps against the wall, a wave of fatigue washing over her. It's not possible. Those moments have slipped away, James. But that's not the reason you're here with lawyers by your side. Is it? Her voice acquires a cutting tone. You're here to seize the reins, as you always do, to wield your resources and influence to mold the world according to your vision. James pivots to meet her gaze, and in that moment, she catches a glimpse of tears shimmering in his eyes. I have no desire to take them from you. The words emerge fragmented, surprising. I devoted the entire night to viewing videos from their daycare and their birthday celebrations. They are filled with joy, flourishing. You've offered them everything He halts, swallowing hard. Everything I might have destroyed with my desire to manage every detail. Madison gazes at him, her mind racing as she questions whether she's truly grasping what he's saying. What do you mean? I wish to be included in their lives, but not at the expense of what you have created. He retrieves Emma's calculator, extending it toward Madison at last. I aspire to carve out my niche in their realm. Do not purchase it. Do not insist on it. Work for it. His voice trembles. May I have the opportunity to give it a shot? Before Madison has a chance to reply, Oliver's voice echoes from the other room. Mommy? The tower man feels a wave of sadness once more. They glance over to find both twins peering in through the door's window. Emma offers a timid wave, and in that moment, James' expression shatters entirely. He returns the wave, a hesitant motion that appears to drain him completely. Madison gazes at her children and their father, perceiving the unseen bonds that tie them together, even after years apart. She contemplates her anxieties, her strategies for courtroom confrontations, her willingness to flee once more if necessary. Yet, perhaps, there exists an alternative path ahead. Next weekend, there's a dinosaur exhibition at the museum, she whispers. Oliver is fascinated by the grand skeletal towers. Emma attempts to tally every single bone. She locks eyes with James. Perhaps you would be interested in joining us? James feels a sudden catch in his breath. In the background, Emma has persuaded Oliver to join in, their tiny hands moving together in harmony. I'd like that, he murmurs. I would truly appreciate that. The Natural History Museum stands majestically, its impressive architecture sharply contrasting with the quiet scene taking place on its steps. Oliver grips his elephant tightly in one hand and holds Madison's fingers in the other. As Emma hops with enthusiasm beside them, her calculator securely stowed in her little backpack. As they await James, Madison senses the tightness in Oliver's hold. Despite his lingering weakness from the hospital, he was determined to attend, his passion for dinosaurs overpowering his exhaustion. The morning sun glimmers on the golden strands of Emma's hair, reminiscent of her mother's, as she animatedly shares the statistics she's committed to memory about T-Rexes. James emerges at the foot of the stairs, and Madison nearly fails to identify him. The power suit and commanding presence have vanished. Instead, he dons jeans and a relaxed button-down, appearing more unsure than she has ever witnessed him before. He holds 2 gift bags in his hands. Madison's expression shifts to a frown. Some habits are tough to break. However, her gaze lands on the contents within. A dinosaur encyclopedia for Oliver and a children's book about Ada Lovelace, the pioneering computer programmer, for Emma. He has thoroughly researched and understood their interests. It may seem insignificant, yet it conveys so much. The children observe him with a blend of intrigue and wariness as Madison facilitates the introduction. Oliver, Emma, allow me to introduce you to James. He'll be joining us today. She refrains from using the term father. Such a title must be deserved, not simply proclaimed. James lowers himself to meet their gaze, presenting the gifts with hands that quiver just a bit. He says to Oliver, I heard you're the authority on dinosaur towers. Perhaps you could enlighten me about them? Oliver's hold on Madison's hand relaxes slightly. Emma gazes at James from behind her brother, her keen intellect clearly engaged in deep thought. Did you construct the grand towers in Mommy's vintage photographs? She inquires unexpectedly. James casts a quick look at Madison, taken aback that she has held onto the photos. I did, he replies gently. However, I believe your block towers likely possess superior structural integrity. Within the museum's walls, Oliver slowly begins to feel at ease as they step into the dinosaur hall. His innate passion eclipses his timidity as he describes each skeleton to James, who listens with keen interest. Madison lingers at the edge, observing Emma as she pulls out her calculator, seemingly attempting to calculate the odds of a brachiosaurus being able to fit into their apartment. The atmosphere is dreamlike, as her history and current reality intertwine within this vast expanse brimming with relics of the past. A museum guide kindly offers to capture a photo of everyone in front of the T-Rex. The twins instinctively position themselves beside Madison, while James lingers awkwardly off to the side until Emma surprises him by taking his hand. "You're too far," she declares with certainty. The camera struggles to achieve a pleasing composition in that manner. As James engages in a conversation about framing with his daughter, his expertise as a photographer shines through, while Oliver interjects with a comment about the T-Rex's teeth being out of focus. The guide captures the moment, a snapshot of their initial family gathering, even if they aren't quite prepared to label it as such just yet. As Oliver sits in the museum cafe during lunch, he starts to feel his energy wane. In a spontaneous gesture, James extends his arm as a makeshift pillow, and the boy nestles against him, holding tightly to his elephant and freshly acquired book. The pressure of his son leaning on him leaves James at a loss for words. Emma, perhaps aware of the significance of the occasion, sets aside her calculator and retrieves her new book on Ada Lovelace. "Would you be able to share it with us?" she inquires of James. Mommy always brings the characters to life with her voices, Madison observes as James starts to read, his assured boardroom voice morphing into a variety of characters. Oliver leans against him, drifting into a gentle slumber as Emma patiently adjusts his mathematical pronunciations. In this ordinary moment, she discovers a side of James she never realized was there, a part that may have been hidden all along, overshadowed by years of restraint and a fear of opening up. Her phone vibrates, a message from Nathan inquiring about Oliver's progress. She replies succinctly, conscious of James observing but choosing to remain silent. They are all discovering fresh limits and novel ways to interact with one another. As the afternoon draws to a close, Oliver has drifted off in James's embrace, while Emma shares her latest numerical revelation. Madison starts to collect their belongings, while James lingers uncertainly. He speaks softly, mindful of Oliver's slumber, expressing a desire to establish a college fund for them. "Nothing binding. You will possess complete authority. So much has slipped through my fingers. Allow me to take care of this task." Madison observes him, noting the tenderness with which he cradles Oliver, the genuine attention he pays to Emma's mathematical musings, and the striking lack of his typical urge to take control of the moment. "All right," she finally responds. "However, it must be routed through my attorney." "What about James?" He gazes up at her. "I appreciate your time today, for attempting it in my own style." He nods, grasping the offering she presents, the opportunity to engage in their lives while allowing them their freedom. It has been 2 months since the visit to the museum. Madison stands in her Portland kitchen, observing through the window as James assists the twins in constructing an intricate block city in the backyard. They've settled into an unexpected cadence. James arrives every other weekend, checks into a nearby hotel, and dedicates his days to fully engaging in his children's lives. Today, Oliver dons the small hard hat James gifted him, guiding the positioning of each block with his father's meticulous eye for detail, while Emma figures out the perfect angles for their architectural creation. The scene before her remains surreal. James Reynolds, the man who once sought to dictate every facet of her existence, now finds himself seated cross-legged in the grass, allowing their children to enlighten him about their universe rather than imposing his own views upon them. Her phone buzzes with a message from Nathan, confirming their plans for the kids' checkup tomorrow. She replies positively, conscious of the measured space he has kept since James became a part of their world. At times, she notices him observing her, curiosity flickering in his gaze, yet he refrains from voicing those unasked questions, never pressing for anything beyond what she feels prepared to share. Rachel steps up beside her at the window, cradling a warm cup of coffee. "You know," she says, her brow furrowing in contemplation, "when you first mentioned that James would be involved in their lives, I honestly thought you had lost your mind. But observe him out there. That's not the same person you fled from." Madison nods, recalling the moment James entrusted her with the children's college fund, how he sought her approval before purchasing gifts for them, how he adjusted board meetings to accommodate Oliver's t-ball games and Emma's math club. The individual who previously monitored her actions now sends messages prior to each encounter, consistently inquiring, never presuming. Outside, Emma's voice floats through the open window. "Daddy, you're miscalculating the shadow angles." The term daddy still carries a sense of novelty. The twins began using it just last week, experimenting with it like a fresh mathematical equation. James averted his gaze, yet Madison caught sight of the tears he desperately attempted to conceal. Now he sits with Emma, absorbing her perspective on the world through numbers, while Oliver constructs additional towers in their cityscape. The recent pneumonia had left the boy with a lingering cough, and Madison observed how James quietly kept an eye on his son's breathing, mirroring her own concern. A delivery truck arrives, prompting James to step away and sign for a package. Inside, 2 meticulously wrapped gifts await. Oliver's elephant shows signs of wear, while Emma's calculator is precariously held together with tape. The new ones mirror the old, a considerate detail that reveals James's appreciation for the solace found in familiarity. However, he doesn't hand them over to the twins immediately. Instead, he takes them to Madison. "If you believe it's acceptable," he states, "the man who once commanded now seeking approval. I observed during my visit last weekend." Oliver's cough cuts through their conversation. James grips the package firmly, remaining still until Madison gives a slight nod. They've mastered this delicate choreography, knowing how to express care without suffocating, how to navigate parenthood in unison while remaining apart. Outside, the twins have left their block city behind to pursue butterflies, their laughter floating on the warm summer breeze. "I never knew it could be like this," James confesses softly. "After all those years of constructing towers, I never grasped what truly holds significance." Rachel quietly departs, allowing them to gaze at their children through the window. Madison finally reveals that the Portland office intends to make my position permanent. There will be no more trips to New York every quarter. She anticipates James will object, to claim his rights as their father, to insist they relocate nearer. Instead, he catches her off guard. "Then I shall establish a division on the West Coast. Invest additional moments in this space." He takes a moment, selecting his words with precision. Not to exert any control, simply to be near, to observe their development. Madison observes him, the man who once sought to possess her now discovering the essence of belonging. A year has passed, and Madison finds herself at the threshold of Reynolds Industries' newly established office in Portland. She observes James assisting Emma with her math homework, while Oliver busies himself constructing a block tower in the corner of the executive suite. The atmosphere contrasts sharply with his New York office, exuding warmth, adorned with children's artwork on the walls, and featuring a play area that can be seen through the glass partition. The individual seated at the desk presents a different demeanor as well. The once sharp contours of James Reynolds have mellowed, giving way to gentle laugh lines and a serene smile as he guides their daughter through intricate challenges. The twins recently celebrated their 5th birthday, and the party held yesterday showcased the remarkable transformations that have taken place. In the backyard of Madison's home, the place she never left, James tended to the grill while Nathan assisted in arranging the games. Rachel and Patricia arrived from New York, while Beth decided to close the daily grind early to allow the staff to participate. The peculiar family they've created somehow thrives, bound not by gilded confines or formal agreements, but by intention, evolution, and affection. Oliver's most recent tower collapses, its blocks tumbling across the floor. In the past, James would have hurried to resolve it, to impose order on the turmoil. Instead, he observes his son diligently starting to rebuild, more resilient this time. "Recall the insights we gained regarding the foundation?" James inquires softly. Oliver nods, arranging the blocks with thoughtful precision. Emma glances up from her homework, ready to share her insights on load-bearing calculations, and Madison feels a warmth in her heart at the effortless connection between them. A photograph resting on James's desk draws her attention, the one taken at the museum a year prior, their inaugural family portrait. Next to it is a more recent one from the twins' birthday, capturing their growth over time. Not only in magnitude, but in comprehension. James notices her glance and locks eyes with her. The man who once sought to purchase her affection now grasps its genuine worth. The woman who once evaded his grasp now places her faith in him regarding their children's well-being. Nathan stands in the doorway behind Madison, perfectly punctual for the twins' checkup. Throughout the past year, he and James have cultivated a mutual respect, prioritizing the children's well-being over any personal emotions. The twins collect their belongings, embracing James' farewell with a natural warmth. "Looking forward to seeing you this weekend, Dad," Oliver inquires. "Promise," James replies, the word laden with the significance of every vow upheld throughout the past year. As the twins depart with Nathan, Madison hesitates, holding back for a moment. "I never imagined we would find ourselves in this situation," she confesses. "A year ago, I felt the urge to take off once more." James gives a knowing nod, fully grasping the situation. "A year back, I could have provided you with justification to do so." He surveys his office, taking in the building blocks strewn across the plush carpet, and the whimsical drawings that share wall space with prestigious corporate accolades. "I dedicated my existence to constructing monuments of steel and glass, believing they granted me strength. Yet true power?" He lifts a fallen block, examining it closely in his grasp. "True strength lies in the ability to release what no longer serves you, to cherish without possessing, to create something collaboratively rather than attempting to dominate it individually." Madison gently caresses the delicate gold necklace that adorns her neck, the one featuring the engraved letters O and E. "The twins inquired yesterday why we don't share a home like their friends' parents do." James remains still, poised in anticipation. "I explained that love can take on various forms depending on the family. At times, its strength lies in the fact that individuals opt for it daily, rather than feeling confined by it." From their vantage point by the window, they observe Nathan assisting the twins as they climb into his car, the children cheerfully waving farewell. Their reflection in the glass reveals two individuals who have embraced the toughest truths of existence. That love is not about ownership, that true growth demands release, and that the most resilient connections flourish in an atmosphere of freedom rather than fear. The towers of Manhattan loom in a photo on the wall, yet they appear diminished now, eclipsed by the small block tower Oliver has left standing in the corner. Imperfect, perhaps, but crafted with care and insight. "Some cages are crafted from gold," Madison murmurs, recalling her mother's words. Yet, as she gazes at Oliver's creation, some towers are constructed from a more resilient substance. James shifts his focus, perceiving not the rough, unrefined building, but the solid groundwork of trust they have collectively established. Ultimately, the lesson is both straightforward and deep. Genuine love liberates rather than confines. True strength lies not in dominating others, but in achieving mastery over oneself. At times, the bonds you forge with those you select to share your life are more resilient than any structure of steel and glass could ever aspire to be.